Mombasa is famous for its sandy beaches and majestic palm trees that spring from the ground and tower over everything around them. But away from the leisured life at the coast, the sweet melodies of the coastal conga and the enveloping warmth of a welcoming town lies a darker side, often hidden from public view and glossy brochures. In the alleys and back streets of this coastal gem live thousands resigned to the gloomy life of drug addiction. Naima Said is an unlikely face of the grim reality that is addiction to heroin. Her pathway into this world followed a well-written script that started off through affairs of the heart. A love dalliance with a drug-den lover led her down this treacherous path. She bonded with her partner over heroin. It was her way of showing him that she trusted him, that she liked him, and would walk to the sunset with him.
And I knew it's this man calling me back with his free heroin. But it wasn't just free heroin, it was free poison, free death passport. That man was like, okay, he knew he was using me, but his words, it was like he was helping me. So rather than going out and struggle on the road and the streets with the cold, I'd rather be with the drug baron so he could use me when he wants and he could give me heroin. So I stayed with that man for 5 years.
Naima's story would probably have turned out different had she not had such easy access to a banned substance. Yet here at the coast, where the blue waters of the Indian Ocean give way to undulating hills, chalk-white villas, drugs are some sort of a common currency.
Then the supply reduction, it is out of our hand, because if we say this is the targeted area and we are not maybe focusing on it, us as a community, we are working on the demand reduction. And we've been having a lot of voices because heroin is not planted in Kenya, but it's available. It is easier today to buy heroin in the streets of Mombasa than to buy sugar from a supermarket.
Despite its easy availability, chasing down the next fix for women is still a tall order and costs more than just money.
With women drug users, unlike their male counterpart, that will hustle and get money for their next fix meaning their next usage of heroin. But for women, it was very difficult for stealing or running around. So they had to, the most stigmatizing part was selling their body. But they had to exchange sex for a sachet of heroin. So on a day, they will tell me, like, I have to have like multiple sex partners. At an average 6 partners per day, they'll even be forced to sleep with like 10.
It's 200 per one sachet, and one sachet is not enough for a day. I have to get like 5 to 6 sachets a day for me to satisfy myself or cure myself for that day.
The next fix could be the last.
At that time, I was like half dead, half alive. I was sick. I was like, you could look at me and get scared. My skin changed, everything.
According to the World Health Organization, almost 11 million people inject drugs globally, and 2 out of every 10 people who inject drugs are women. While data on heroin users in Kenya is limited, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has warned that heroin addiction appears to be on the rise in the country, particularly along the coast, and women are increasingly getting hooked. The National AIDS and STIs Control Program estimates the number of women who inject drugs in the country at about 2,405. More ominously, about 15% of all people who inject drugs in the country are women. That is an interesting piece of information because drug abuse has traditionally been regarded as a preserve for wayward boys and confused men. Studies have shown that girls and women start using injectable drugs between the age of 11 and 17, and their male sexual partners mostly introduce 7 out of every 10 to the drugs. Desperate for solution, some women are slowly walking the shameful yet courageous journey from the darkness by joining support groups such as these at the Mewa Rehabilitation Center. But not all find these places favorable or welcoming. Nearby, in downtown Mombasa, at the outreach center, a new strategy is luring women addicts to seek the much-needed rehabilitation and other health services. And that strategy is in the form of a salon, which also doubles up as an outreach center.
They used to wait for us to reach out to them at their hotspot, which at times is hard. So that is why I came up with the idea of the beauty corner. So far we've seen a bigger uptake of services because they're not only coming there to beautify themselves, but as they come, we also encourage them to access clinical services. Once in a month, we have different gynecologists who are willing to come talk to them for free or even to screen them for free.
Naima Said, who is now a recovering addict, has been on methadone treatment for 5 years now and the first female client at this center, which earned her the coveted 001 title. The only other person who answers to that title is Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho. Naima is tasked by the organization to run the activities at the salon, and through her, more female drug addicts have come to the clinic to seek rehabilitation services.
I start looking for clients, those who have come to hospital to get free meals. I look for the girls who are addicts and I call them and I talk to them. I advise them, I want to show you something beautiful. Would you like to see? Oh, sure, I would like to see. I come in a tricky way so that you can at least feel what I'm trying to make you feel. So I take you and I take you to the bathroom, give you a soap, just take a shower, and then you come out and you see what's happening. You're too beautiful to be wasting your life. So why don't you start smart? Why don't you go to a clinical officer there and see your status? Why don't you do this and that? And I actually, it happens. I don't know how magical it happens. We find a client and she joins smart.
34-year-old Elizabeth Sarah is on methadone treatment as well and has been coming to the outreach center for more than 3 years now in her quest to break the shackles for addiction.
Siku nyingi tulikuwa tukikuja tunapata services zingine, lakini services za urembo ilikuwa hakuna. So ni kitu ambacho ni kipya kwa macho yangu. Kama mimi recover, nikitoka hapa nikiwa nimejirembesha, nikienda hata katika field liko maskani yetu, nikifika wale wenzangu ambao ni waraibu, nikiwaelezea ukienda reach out kuna salon unaweza tengenezwa bure. So inawapatia motisha mtu kuja kutengenezwa. Naona kama yani anatamani pia yawe kama mimi. Wengi wanatamani venye huwa hawajui atafanyaje. So imesaidia kwa sababu mtu akisikia hivyo anakuja kwa urahisi. Kwa kutufanya pia sisi tujue hatujatengwa na jamii, ambapo tutaweza kujitokeza kwa wingi na pia itakuwa ni rahisi sisi kujiweza kujibadilisha. Maana yake saa hizi mtu akiangalia kwenye kioo akijiona amebadilika, anachukua naibu kutoka kule nje na kuanza kufanya tena yale mambo alikuwa akifanya. Kwenye street kuoga ni shida, kukula ni shida, kuvaa ni shida. So ongeza kulinganisha saa hizi na venye nilikuwa wakati ule, kuna tofauti kubwa. Kwa sababu kama huyu ndio alikuwa pia wangu, ndio alikuwa akinifuata kule maeneo. Yeye mwenyewe hata saizi akiniangalia unaona anaweza shika kichwa changu. Lakini ilikuwa huwezi kushika hichi kichwa, hizi nywele haziangaliki.
The makeover at this beauty corner at the center gives them hope and uplifts them.
Mimi nilivutiwa na waraibu kulingana na ukiangalia pale chini, kama si dadako basi ni rafiki yako, ni mtu wako wa karibu. Ukiangalia wale wanaokwenda kule chini wengi pia educate alikuwa ni wanaume. So nikajitolelea kuwa mimi mwanamke niweze kuwasaidia wale dada zetu kule chini wapate kuonekana kama wao ni wanawake kama vile sisi, kwa sababu wengi ukiangalia wako na watoto na wanaishi nao maeneo. Ukiangalia ni msichana mrembo amesoma lakini yuko pale chini anadharaulika.
Here, the active users who are still injecting drugs are also given syringes and needles through a partnership with the National AIDS and STI Control Program as a way to reduce HIV infection among users.
Needle and syringe program is one of the HIV prevention package under the WHO, UNAIDS and UNODC. This is where the modeling trickle down also to country like Kenya to be able to prevent the HIV amongst people who use drugs.
We share everything, mostly syringes. At that time, we were not supplied with a lot of syringes. We used to go to the chemist and buy for ourselves. Some other chemists did not sell for us, others did. So it was difficult to get a new injection. You know, Coast General Hospital is the nearest hospital that is in our town. So there is a dump place where they dump their syringes, which they already used. So we go there and collect those syringes which are used, and we washed them just with clean water, and we continue. Yeah. And also they're like in drug dens, people like, when I use mine, I hide it somewhere and I go. Someone else comes and he sees it, he takes it. So I got infected with HIV at that time, and afterwards I continued using, it came worse into hepatitis.
1.3 million injectable drug users are living with HIV, 5.5 million with hepatitis C, and 1 million with both HIV and hepatitis C. Women are 2 times likely to get infected with HIV than men. The vicious cycle of use still poses a challenge, as majority of these women who are bound to their male sexual partners sometimes lack access to the much needed services.
Some of them are beaten. They are told not to talk to a stranger or someone else. They're not, with issues of testing, especially TB, hepatitis, HIV. It's worrying. So how did you test without me? Or how did you? So those are the things will be asked. And some of them will be told not to go into treatment. They can be denied. That's we now have small interaction with session. And worst of all, if one of them is positive, the disclosure becomes so hard. So if it's the women now to break that to a male counterpart with the tradition and cultures and taboo, it's like you're going out now.
At the salon and away from the domineering relationships, the women are free and can easily access these services without fear.
Because we have encouraged them to do family planning. We've provided them with different family planning options. And they have really accepted that. So most of them will go for family planning. So it has reduced the incidence of pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy.
Pregnancy and motherhood for these female users have posed a danger for their young ones. Heroin use during pregnancy can result in neonatal abstinence syndrome, which occurs when heroin passes through the placenta to the fetus during pregnancy, causing the baby to become dependent along with the mother. Elizabeth remembers how she lived through this.
Okay, kama mimi hivi nilivyokuwa nikitumia mihadarati, nimekuja nikashika mimba nikiwa katika hali ya mihadarati. Na ule mtoto pia hata alipozaliwa pia yeye ile mihadarati ilikuwa ishamuingia. Kwa sababu saa zingine mimi kama nitakuwa sijavuta alafu nimnyonyeshe, hataki. Na nikivuta alafu nikimnyonyesha ananyonya vizuri, ama saa zile mimi sijavuta pia vile napiga pia anafanya hivyo.
Some of the syndromes include excessive crying, fever, irritability, seizures, slow weight gain, tremors, diarrhea, vomiting, and possibly death. It requires hospitalization and treatment with medication, mostly morphine, to relieve symptoms in the baby. Some of these women will find themselves on the wrong side of the law, and managing addiction while in jail is tough and is made even worse by lack of access to proper rehabilitation services. The pain and agony is worse behind bars, and the anguish unbearable when the withdrawal symptom kicks in.
So when I went first, I suffered with symptoms, the symptoms of missing the heroin for 24 hours. It was like mysterious, like a malaria, but this is like 3 times the malaria pain you feel. I feel all my backbone, all bones I have, including in my body, were paining. It's like there were a drill inside the bones, drilling me inside. My stomach was like paining, and I was diarrheaing, I was vomiting, sweating, flu, crying. I had that chicken skin, shaking, and in between some hours, I stay like 15 minutes, then I start shaking, and then I stop because I was injecting too much drugs. But because of the prison, it's like, he's just a heroin addict, he's going to recover, he's going to work hard, all that pain is going to go away. And yes, the next day I was taken to a farm. I've never held a djembe in my life.
That was when you were at Shimolateva?
Yeah, that day I held a djembe and I didn't know how to hold it. I was beaten like hell and returned back to jail because I didn't have the strength to dig or that in that chamber. So the madam was very furious.
Naima later got a relief after intervention of one of the guards and was taken to the methadone clinic for treatment.
We innovate different programs. We innovated the program in prison. We said that instead of jailing them, we talked to the magistrate, Mrs. Diana at Shanzu Law Courts, and senior magistrate, and she said that let us come with a court order. Instead of jailing them, send them to methadone. So they access methadone, substitute therapy, or they come for psychosocial at the rehab centers or at our drop-in center. We need to come with different topics as per their need.
Despite many initiatives such as this Salon aimed at rescuing girls and women from the yoke of drug addiction, stigma against women still poses a threat to the success of such campaigns.
Most of them, they are taken like prostitute, or they are taken like very low people in our society. So we are trying to raise that alarm and being able to say these are members of the community. And it brought the whole meaning, because within the faith-based community, it was not to their realization that we have Muslim and Christian women who are onto this. They thought, I don't know what they were feeling, or they thought it's male only. But we realized we have everyone from all across the ethnic groups, the religion, the color, the status. We have people coming from high status of life and maybe rich people, and we have very low people coming from very low. So we have cut across everyone.
With every new coat of polish on these women, every brush stroke through their hair, they get renewed hope of cleaning up their past and stepping out refreshed and renewed.
I'm a woman, and a woman is a very respectful person in the community. You are a mother, you are a daughter, you are that girl, you are that sister. You play a big role. So why should we die? Why should we waste our lives while we can recover?
Eunice Omolo, NTV, Mombasa County.